Hey guys, what's going on, everybody? Let me fix my camera settings really quick. Okay, I already fixed it. I wanted to make sure. Ah. I hate when my hair sticks out of my hat sticking straight down like that. I feel like it looks ridiculous. Looks like I have a bowl cut or something. What's going on, everybody? Last night of testing before ProQuest this weekend. Again, limited, doing draft ProQuest to Star City games on Saturday, and then playing in Johnson City on Sunday. Playing CC. So, hey, what's up, Ben? How are you, buddy? So in preparation of that, last night at the end of the stream, I was kind of talking about how like I've been struggling into Bravo a little bit. And honestly, I think that's me more than it is most things. But something I had a thought about is I was like, what if I found a way to play Breaking Point in the main deck? So I threw on my white lab coat and I hopped into the lab and I started experimenting last night. And I actually cut 2 Flame Call Awakenings in the extra Phoenix Flame, added the 3 Breaking Points into the main deck, and now I'm playing 3 Reinforced Lines in the sideboard. So that's kind of what I'm testing tonight. That's what I'm after trying to figure out. That's like where we're at, and that's what I want to be able to figure out tonight. So we're going to see how good that is. So I'm going to put looking for Bravo, Lexi, or Dromai in hopes of trying to find those matchups again, just like we were last night. So anyway, kind of a breakdown on how like what I'm testing tonight, and we're going to see how it goes. So I'm pretty excited to try it. That's really the only thing I changed about the list. And I'm good, Ben. I'm good, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're doing well, man. I am glad you are doing well, brother. I have to admit, I came home. I came home and I saw that I crossed over 700 subs just a few minutes ago, and I was really excited about that. That was like it was a pretty sweet moment for me. I was pretty excited about it, honestly. So this is really interesting because I don't want Command and Conquerors, but I do want Ancestral Empowerments, Reinforced Alliance, and Sink Belows. And then we're going to cut the Artivores. So I guess we're still playing 63 cards in the mirror. We have 57 card deck. We're bringing in our 9 cards and cutting the 3 Artivores. So we're still playing a 63 card deck. I'm curious to see how this feels. I also think this is going to play well with, we're going to try Mask of Momentum and see how it goes. Najee already has a touchdown tonight. I saw that. I saw that they gave him the ball. My man, I can't remember what's his name. The offensive coordinator was like, "Hey, let him cook. Let Najee cook tonight." And I'm glad he did because it worked out well for me. So, I think I'm going to keep the Empowerment here because the Empowerment's like my strongest card. If they want to use a pummel to push through 4 damage, like I think that's fine with me. They're probably sitting there saying, yeah, that's okay with them too. I guess we're just going to play Bittering Thorns and then play the Empowerment. Pitching Lava Burst. I could also just go pitch Ancestral Empowerment for Kadachi. No, I have to play a red card to be able to do that, so that puts me in an awkward spot. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what we hit here. This is an interesting hand to start with. This is an interesting hand to start it with. Ew. Yeah, Ben, I was pretty excited about coming home and crossing over the 700 mark. That was a really cool moment to come home and see that number. Honestly, not something I was expecting to happen. So big numbers, dude. Absolutely, Max. Like, dude, it was really cool to like see that. It's just like, you know, like I know that like things like really like become different as like a YouTube, like being on YouTube when you get to 1,000. But I was pretty excited about it. It's like, it's really cool to just be able to like see that number like continuously growing. Like, so many fun people come and hang out in my chat and are like a part of the community, and it's just a lot of fun. This is interesting. So if I give Stab Wound and Reinforce the line here, I take 3, go to 33, and then I guess my turn is Double Strike 7. I'm leaving a point on the board, but I think it's fine. So they can't pummel us here. They don't have any resources floating, so We go to 33. I mean, my opponent's already given up quite a bit of equipment block here, which is like kind of surprising. So I'm curious to see if they're going to give an equipment piece here on the double strike for 2 instead of having to worry about a third chain link where mass could actually be relevant. Okay, interesting. So now we're definitely going to go E-Strike for 7 and force them to say that they're going to have to give me a card in defense reaction or 2 cards and a piece of equipment if they actually want to stop this. So they have a defense reaction here, probably in their arsenal if I had to guess. No, they're just going to give us Mask and let us arsenal a card. Wow, what a draw step. What a draw step. Wow. Already looking up in the Bravo matchup. I say that, I'll probably still lose, but that was an insanely good draw right there. So this is another 10 dominate that we're just going to get to cover up because they gave us the mask, which is absolutely insane. So let's think about the difference here between E-Strike and Lava Vein Loyalty. So if I block with the E-Strike and the Sink Below, my hand is Kadachi, Ronin Renegade, Rabble, which is 4, 7, 8, 9. Or if I block with the Lava Vein Loyalty, my hand is Ravenous Rabble for 4 into E-Strike for 7. So that's an 11-point turn versus 9. I guess I do threaten Mask the other way around. But I think we're kind of at a point where like I want to be just like throwing numbers at them. They don't have an arsenal, so there's like almost guaranteed that there's nothing set up here. I guess I could bottom this and see what I find. Don't really know what I was looking to find there, but like this is definitely like this is interesting. I think I'm still going to play the Rabble just because it has the highest upside here. Also has the biggest downside. So double strike would have been for 3. And then let's just come in for 7 here. Let's just keep the pressure on. My opponent goes to 21, means they have something that they can try to... They could still dominate a Spinal Crush here, and then I'm in a bad spot. I guess I'm not in as bad a spot as I thought I was if they... So I get to block Breaking Point and then play Reinforce the Line and just cover this up completely, which is insane. Oh, look at little Terran. I'm actually going to have to go into Twitch and adjust the emotes that I have on Twitch because I've never actually taken the time to adjust the ones that I have there. They're still like the bordered backgrounds, and I'll have to get the borderless ones that I've like updated YouTube with over the last like, you know, like 6 months to a year. So let's come in with Kadachi. And then Blaze for 4, threatening Mask right here, which is pretty sweet. I do still have all of my equipment to block with, which is pretty nice. And we're currently up 7 points before they decide to give us equipment in a card. Ooh, they're just going to give us all... they're just going to give us all the equipment. Their hand must be pretty good. It's still the one I made? Yeah, that's how old that is. That's like the original one that you made for me when I started streaming, which is like pretty cool, honestly, like if you think about it. This is interesting. I'd love to just be able to give 2/3 blocks here and like call it a day. So my opponent wants to keep whatever they have, which is a little tough. The only really good thing that I would say we have going for us right now is the fact that we're up 7 points and they only have 1 point on the Crater Fist. I could just give these 6 cards and then Arsenal Salt and Wound and try to set up a little bit. I could also just give Salt and Wound, Bittering Thorns, and Flamescale Furnace, play Rabble, and then Arsenal Mounting Anger. I think that's the play here. Not having another 3 block is like pretty bad for us here. Makes our hand pretty awkward. Gives our opponent quite a bit of tempo. Unfortunately, we are just wasting the Quicken token, but I think that we're in a better spot wasting the Quicken token than we are actually like trying to Like I think it's better for us to like just waste a quicken token than to like try and hang on to it. I mean, most of our cards say go again, so like it's not like we're really gonna get an insane amount of value out of it. Is this hammer for 4? Or does my... I mean, even if he has a pummel, I'm taking 10 with no relevant on-hit effects. What does Embolden do? If you control another non-token aura, draw a card. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. Your next Guardian attack action you play this turn gets +3. This is a token. Seismic Surges are tokens. So I think we're just going to say go here. Like, we're just going to pass. So we literally just took 4 there. So pitch Mounting Anger to play Mounting Anger. Pitch Enlightened Strike to activate Furnace. Kadachi, Rising Resentment, Lava Burst. And then I can arsenal my Phoenix Flame. Seems like an okay turn here. Seems like it's not too shabby, it's not too bad here. Alright, so our opponent has a defense reaction. No. So this is for 4 now. So E-Strike would be for 7, Threatening Mask, or it's Kadachi. So it's Kadachi, Lava Burst, which is also for 7. I think I'm going to stick with my original play that I came up here. I don't know. E-Strike for 7 right here is exactly the same amount of points as it would be if I played the Lava Burst, and I have a chance to threaten the mask. And if I throw the Kadachi here, they get to mess with my play here by blocking with Crater Fist. So I think I want to go buff here for 7, knowing that it's on hit mask, and I can arsenal whatever I draw. That's not a great card to arsenal, but I think I will arsenal it here. Just try to set up a little bit. Okay, so they have Crippling Crush Pummel here. I'm just going to block 9. Now you have to decide, do you want to play the Pummel or not? Which is interesting because I only have 1 card. Doesn't matter. We're going to take 2 and go to 22. And then their entire turn was like predicated around the back of like attacking of doing that. So I don't see a reason to keep this. In fact, the only thing that keeping that does is like hurt me to the idea of Command and Conquer. I mean, I guess technically it is another Draconic Chain Link, and I don't think I've activated Fai this game. My list is definitely set up in a way that does not activate Fai a lot. So give Warmongers Furnace and Mask here. And then I get to go Kadachi, Brand, Kadachi, Phoenix Flame, Salta Wound. And I get value out of my Shuko here. I go to 19. The reinforcement lines have been absolutely insane this game. Like, absolutely insane. They've been so good. They have been so good this game. And, I mean, like, at this point, like, I mean, we could lose. Like, anything could happen at this point, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, like, it kind of feels like it's a formality. Like, it kind of feels like we've already won the game. We just have to make sure that our opponent doesn't do anything crazy. Phoenix Flame's going to be for 2. And then Salta Wound's going to be for a minimum of 4, potentially for 5. Okay, so Salta Wound is for 4, which means technically it does not get a card to their hand. They don't have to give us a card. They can go to 1, but them going to 1 will pretty much solidify the game here. This hand's great. Like, a Starstruck or a Crippling Crush or a Spinal Crush here would be, like, really bad for us, but they've thrown 2 Spinals already, and they've thrown 2 Starstrucks. So, not super likely that they have one or the other, but, I mean, anything's possible. Yeah, that's a win. We're going to 13. This hand's good. This is so good. So Kadachi. Brand. Give me a card. Because this, like, at this point, our head jabs require a card, which is so broken. Draconic Kadachi, not that it really matters, but still makes it look better. Give me a card. Activate this for free. Take one. Go to one, or give me a card and die. And then give me both of your cards, or give me a defense reaction from your arsenal. Yeah, they just conceded. Yeah, 12.9 over the course of 10 turns is really solid against Bravo. That game felt really good. That game felt a lot better. The reinforced lines were absolutely insane that game. So my deck building changes all I don't have my link copied. But yeah, the game felt really good. You going to Johnson City? Yes, sir, Drew. I will be in Johnson City on Sunday, man. Not like last week where I told a lot of people I was going to be somewhere and then I ended up going somewhere at the last minute just because of changes. Not that was like me trying to like trick people, but that's just how my weekend lined up. But yes, sir, I will be in Johnson City on Sunday at the Outpost playing some CC. You coming back to Johnson City, man? That'd be awesome. I would actually love a chance to like get to meet you, man. Yo, sub 701, whoever you are, thank you. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate you being here. Yes, sir. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. What are you playing on what are you playing Sunday? Or if it's like some spicy tech.
Freaking go.
Hey, the notification did come through. Let's go. Iceman 1217. Thanks for subbing. I appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Tell me about yourself, man. You here for cards or Fortnite? Or I don't know. Maybe you're here for the funny clips of Carly. Either way. Tell me about yourself, man, though. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being a part of the channel. I will be bringing Azuri. Hiss. Nah, I'm just kidding, man. Azuri's a good deck. So I will tell you, in all honesty, the one thing that I worry about with Azuri, like if me and you play and you're playing Azuri, dude, we'll play a really close game, or you'll obliterate me. That's really about how it goes. We either play a super close, grindy game where like I'm able to like scratch it out at the end because I have Kadachis when you get low, or you just kind of like keep tempo the whole game and obliterate me. That's just kind of how it goes. But how do you feel about Dromai? Every Azuri player I know, when they talk about playing against Dromai, like they always like make the same noise I just did. They're always like hiss when they when they see that they got to play against Dromai. We're definitely going to go second. We're going to run the same thing we just did. We're going to bring in empowerments. We're going to bring in sink belows, and we're going to bring in reinforced lines and cut our Artivores for a solid 63 card deck here. For anybody who might have missed it, the deck list change that I made from last night to tonight is that I cut 2 Flame Call Awakenings and the extra Phoenix Flame, and I added 3 breaking points to the main deck, and then I'm playing the God, this hand would be terrible if I just passed. And I brought in the 3 I brought in 3 reinforced lines in the sideboard. So I mean, this is dominated. I mean, I guess I can just give Salt a Wound here. Or is Diplomacy better? Yeah, I guess let's just give Salt a Wound and go to 37. They don't get a counter here. So there's no reason to give up my Sink Below that I can Arsenal here. So Kadachi, Bittering Thorns into Lava Burst. Arsenal the Sink Below here. Feels like a pretty good turn for us to start out on. Our opponent could very well have a defense reaction. We could also just get lucky enough to where like they're forced to give us some equipment here on the Bittering Thorns. Definitely a defense reaction. It's like there's no way that they're just going to give this to us. It's like if they are, I would be absolutely baffled. And we'll come in for 5 here with a Lava Burst. So an 11-point turn off of 3 cards, not too bad. And we get to Arsenal a And we get to Arsenal a Sink Below, so... Okay, his hand looks interesting. Hey, I just beat that guy? Oh, the Uncle Robbie guy? Did you just play against him? So this is for 7, so... Let's play the Sink Below here. I don't think there's a reason to put anything on the bottom. I think I can just play my Ronin Renegade and then draw a card off the Empowerment and see what we come up with here. And then we can Arsenal another Sink Below and really hope that it's just not like a Command and Conquer blowout turn here. That would be bad for us. A 1 for 4 would be a really bad card to draw in this spot. Another Head Jab would be fine. Okay. And then let's come in for 3 here. Our opponent's going to go to 33, and I'm just going to Arsenal. Yeah. I mean, I can block 6 here. I can also just give... I can give Salt the Wound and then Sink Below, but I don't really think that's the way I want to go. I think we'll just block 8 and take 1, go to 36, and then I'll just throw a 0 for 4 here, so... Okay, Sink Below means that our opponent like has 1 less card to play offense with, which is kind of relevant for us. And then play Sink Below. I don't think there's a reason to put anything on the bottom. We can just go Kodachi Kodachi here and go to 34. Put on some pressure. Put on some pressure. I mean, I was like, our opponent's just going to keep both of their all their cards if they actually do anything here. This hand is really good. We can block 7 off Stab Wound and reinforce the line. If this is another crippling, we have the ability to use Furnace to like get out of it here. Man, I really hope they don't have the pummel here, but if they do, they do. I think that's really all there is to it. Just gonna go ahead and play that. Okay, so they didn't have the pummel. Their best play was just Command and Conquer there. Rising Resentment for 3 go again. Not an on-hit effect really here, just adding to our mass chain links if we're gonna do anything. And then Rabble. All right, well, we're 1 for 3 so far. We've hit 2 blues and a red so far tonight. And then I'm just going to throw the Snatch. Yeah, they give some equipment here. What have we seen so far? We've seen 2 Sink Belows and a Reinforce the Line. So we still got 3 defense reaction type style cards in our deck. Their hand, they kept all their cards, so this is pretty terrifying. So if I go Stab Wound, Furnace, and Shuko, I take 3, go to 31. I hate to give up Shuko so early in the game, but I think that's what I have to do to be able to continue to play my cards. I get to go Kodachi Kodachi, Mounting Anger, and to Lava Burst. Which is not bad. Like, we're still continuing to put pressure on our opponent here and make them give us cards every turn. This game feels closer than the last one. I mean, I did kind of feel like I just kind of ran away with the last game, so... Need somebody to have, need somebody to hold. Okay, so they have another big crush effect here. What have they played? They've played a Crippling Crush, Starstruck, and a Spinal, so one of all of the big three, and a Command and Conquer. So this could really be anything. I mean, I think we're just going to 20. I think keeping these two cards, like if I was going to keep, I needed to get rid of the Mounting Anger. I needed to discard the Mounting Anger kind of regardless here, or I needed the other card that I kept to be a blue. So let's attack for 3 and let's arsenal our Mounting Anger here and hope that we can try to set up a 5-card hand that actually does something. It's very possible our opponent has another like really good turn here, and that we will not have that luxury. So man. So let's do this. I was like, if they have the pummel, like there's nothing we can really do about it here. We're just forced to go to 14 and we're just in a bad spot. I was like, if they don't have it, then I was like, then we have a decent shot at having a pretty good turn here. You said Elizabethan was your locals, right? So Elizabethan is they are my locals, but at the same time, Johnson City is also my local. So I actually live in Johnson City myself. I live about 10 minutes away from the shop we're going to be at on Sunday. But Elizabethan is like I call Elizabethan my home store because the guy who runs it is like a very close friend of mine. And like me and him are like good buddies. So if I take 7 here, I'm going to 7, which means I'm discarding 2 cards, which means I can discard Breaking Point Lava Burst. Actually, I guess let's block 3. Go to 10. And I'll discard the, oh, okay. So yeah, we're just gonna discard these 2 and throw a Blaze Headlong here. The back-to-back pummels right there was pretty good for them. That was pretty solid. Yeah, this game has went a lot differently than our last game. I need our opponent to like, man, these hands are really weird. We saw a lot of our defense reactions very early, and then we have what? There's 2 Reinforced Lines. Let's see, we've only played 1 Sink Below. Or we played 2 Sink Belows, and then Reinforced Line. 1. Yeah, so there's literally a copy of Sink Below and 2 copies of Reinforced Line in like, I don't know, like 13 cards or so. I mean, I have to block 6, take 5, go to 1. And then, yeah, like my opponent's going to go to 8 if they can dominate anything. I was like, yeah, I would go to 8 if I could do anything here. Wow, where are the other copies of our cards? Like, man, we went from drawing like pretty well to like drawing not well at all. They can't pummel this here, so I'm not worried about it. Let's go 5 draw card. We have a lot of cards that we want to arsenal in our deck, so I'm going to arsenal the Ronin Renegade instead of using snaps here just to make them think about what they're actually going to do. Sheesh. So, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna block 7 and take 3. Like, my opponent just hit a stretch in the middle of the game there where they just like, where they were like, oh, bravo, bravo, bravo. Like, and it's, it's really tough to like, unless you're playing like unmovables and things like that, it's really tough to like stay in the game at that spot. Like it's just so hard to like crawl back into the game, because like we also play a deck where like Starstruck is really good against us. It's like actually like it's better against us than it is most decks. What is this, the Bravo night? I mean, I guess we're gonna see how well our stuff does, but yeah, like it's just one of those things where like if Bravo runs hot, like we just kind of have to take it on the chin and hope we can hang in there long enough to win. My opponent already wants to enable chat. Neato. This is a pretty interesting hand. Yeah, Bravo is so rough. I mean, yeah, it definitely can be. Like, if Bravo runs hot, it definitely can be. I don't like feel like that like naturally Bravo is a very hard matchup. I honestly kind of feel the opposite. Like I kind of feel like that Bravo, like naturally for Fai, like ninjas are pretty favored into it, because like it's like Bravo has to run hot in my opinion. Like my opponent, like there were like three or four turns in a row where my opponent had a pummel or was able to dominate something. And I honestly feel like that's not the case very often. Like even with like 39 blues, like I don't feel like you run into like four hands in a row where it's just like, oh, like here's dominate, here's pummel, here's something. It does happen for sure. Maybe Starstruck has just made the Bravo deck so much more consistent that now that's a thing. And I've just not like played enough in the Starstruck meta to like really be confident of that. I'm just gonna I want to play this, but I think I need to play this. I'm just going to throw this as a 0 for 5 here, I guess. Azalea and Bravo are the most annoying decks to play against, in my opinion, LMAO. I mean, I can see that. Azalea is tough to play against because like all of her like on-hit effects that are like super obnoxious. So I completely understand that, like where you're coming from. And Bravo can also like be a pest and like, what is this hand? I mean, I'm going to take 4 and then I'm just going to throw a Blaze Headlong here. Like this hand is not very good, and I'm not going to give up equipment for a hand like this. I'd much rather just throw a Blaze Headlong here and pass. No reason to like really no reason to give up like some of our most valuable equipment here to like try and make that happen. Feels like a step backwards for us this game if we were to try and make that exchange. Now their hand could be cracked and it may just not matter, but I mean 3, 6, 10, throw Rabble for 4. Hopefully throw Rabble for 4 anyway. That is the plan here. Doesn't matter. I always love that it asks me that question when it's like so irrelevant. It's funny how like crazy like how that question's like not very relevant to me. Because whenever they high roll now, it just hurts my feelings. Oh, that's great, Drew. That's a Talishar hand if I've ever seen it. Oh yeah, the double Blaze Headlong, the double Breaking Point hand. Yeah, dude, that was a wild hand for sure, to say the least. All right, so they know, and we know there's a Sink Below on top. But yeah, like I get it. Like it's a feels bad moment to like be high rolled by like Bravo and Azalea, to like have all the red in the ledgers just come out that many turns in a row is definitely not a feels good moment, that's for sure. Ooh, interesting. They show us the Command and Conquer. So if I play the Sink Below here, I can just put the Snatch on the bottom. No, I guess I'm going to put the Brand on the bottom, actually. Okay. Yeah, then they're going to throw the Command and Conquer here. Is Ancestral Empowerment worth giving all of this up? So, like, I can go to 26, and then I can go Kadachi Snatch, Arsenal Sink Below, or I give up Lava Vein Loyalty, Snatch, take 1, go to 31, lose my Empowerment, and then I give up my Sink Below. I think it's better to take 6 here and try to put some pressure on our opponent here, personally. I'd be open to other people thinking differently here, because like this is definitely one of those like interesting lines. I guess the Rousey Ancients didn't have Dominate, so I could have just put the other Sink Below on the Rousey Ancients and bottom the Snatch, but I don't feel like that's correct. Our opponent definitely should have given us a Tectonic Plating there over the Crater Fist. It's technically always better to give Tech Plating first over Crater Fist, because Crater Fist has an ability that can actually do something if he needed to. Not that it comes up very regularly, but it is something that I see from time to time, so that's just one of those things that like I feel like you just kind of learn with time almost. Gosh, what is his hand? These have been some interesting hands tonight. I mean, to be fair, like my hands aren't that bad. They just don't play well into blocking. I mean, realistically, I could just give 3, 5, 7, take 3, and then attack for 3. I don't have to play my Sink Below here. I can just hang on to it and try to make the ship happen another turn. Like, if my hand doesn't play well off me playing my Sink Below, I'm more inclined to keep my Sink Below than I am anything, just because I want to have access to it. Now, Command and Conquer Pummel is like the thing that like punishes me for making this play and this not being a Reinforce Ally. But I don't know. I think more often than not, this is the correct play. So if my opponent comes in with like another Spinal here, which they do have, something is not going Carly's way in the other room. We're going to give Soul Bead Strike and Sink Below. We're getting to keep our armor this way, which is pretty solid. I don't want to sink anything. I like our hand here. Like, this is a perfectly fine hand. We're gonna go Kadachi Double Strike. I'm hoping they give us the Civic Steps here. If they give us the Civic Steps, we can actually get use off of the Quicken token with our Snatch here, which would be really solid. All right, you love to see it. This is exactly what we wanted. 4 go again off the Snatch here, which is like really cool. Sink Below or Fate Foreseen. How many is that? Oh, none? I thought they'd played a Fate Foreseen already. And then Double Strike for 2 because of Shuko. I mean, this is a great hand. I just need to be able to keep it. Man. I'm either blocking everything or blocking nothing, and I think blocking everything is just better. I think being down 4 points and hoping that their hand is like not super great next turn is like fine. Because I still have, let's see, what have we played so far? I played 2 Sink Belows and 1 Reinforce Line, so there's still quite a few defense reaction style cards in my deck. I mean, if they throw like a Spinal or something, or if they throw a Spinal or a Starstruck at us, we can still like, there's 1 copy of Spinal left, 1 copy of Crippling Crush, and 2 copies of Starstruck. 2 copies of Command and Conquer that we've seen, or we've seen 1 copy, there's 2 left. So I don't know, like this feels pretty good. Like I need to, like, considering I have all of my equipment and I'm down 4 points, I just need a turn where I can like really try to swing the tempo in my favor. Okay. Makes me think they're just going to throw the hammer at me. I mean, this could be pitch a blue Spinal. Like, there's also 2 Terra Sunders left, which is scary, but they can't have Terra Sunder now off of this hand. Like, this hand doesn't permit them to play Terra Sunder and like punish us anymore. Let's take 3 and go to 16. I mean, our opponent's up quite a bit, so we do have to play it a little bit safe here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain links here. So we're only going to get to put Mask on once if they block appropriately here. Which sometimes is a big ask from your opponents. Sometimes they don't block appropriately and it gives you the opportunity you need to sneak in there and like really punish them. So my opponent waits. They have a defense reaction. They'll be very rewarded. Crown of Providence and a card here, I assume. That or you're just going to give me Mask. I was like a schmo. I mean, you want to stop this, you have to give me a card. I don't really understand why they wouldn't just give me a card in Civic Steps here. They're not only giving me Mask, they're giving me the Bittering Thorns effect here. Like, you're giving me an extra point and a card here. So, Kadachi, Brand, Bittering Thorns. So I haven't thrown anything. So getting the Phoenix Flame here with my last resource actually gives me the opportunity to trigger. This is for 2, and this gives me the ability to trigger Shuko here, which is pretty solid. So Salt the Wound for 7 is actually a really sweet turn. Them giving us Mass there was insanely good for us. We did not get any value out of the token, but getting Assault the Wound for 7 is really good. And that's a card that we did not have access to, so like they just kind of like put that on our laps there, which is awesome. They're just going to go to 12. Interesting. Their hand must be really good. Like, I can only assume that their hand is like insanely strong. This hand is not very good at all. Like, I would say that the best part of this hand is Kadachi Salta Wound, which is like scary bad. So if we're forced to keep one card, I'm going to keep the Warmonger's Diplomacy here. And they activate Bravo. So block Salta Wound, take 11. Kadachi for 0. Kadachi for 1 off pitching Lava Vein Loyalty. Play Warmonger's Diplomacy, Arsenal Lava Burst. I could also block with the Lava Vein Loyalty, pitch the Salta Wound, and then Arsenal Lava Burst, or I could block with Lava Vein Loyalty, or I could block with Lava Burst, pitch the Lava Vein Loyalty, and then Arsenal the Salta Wound. It's an interesting line of play here. Is Salta Wound going to be better, or is Lava Burst going to be better? I think Lava Burst has a better chance at being better. So yeah, I hate being at 5 here, but I mean, we don't really have another option. Our Kadachi comes in for -3 because of the Pulverize. That is the one cool thing about Kadachis, is that like they play around the Pulverize very well. The Pulverize is only a 15-point swing instead of a 14-point swing here, so like you don't like they don't get a ton of overwhelming value off of us because of that. So I'm gonna hope that the Warmonger's Diplomacy here does a little bit of action, stops a Bravo activation or a Tech Plating activation, and then we can give like maybe a defense reaction from hand and some armor here to like try and set everything up, which is really what I'm hoping for. Man, this hand's not great, but it permits us to do things here. I mean, this hand's probably looking like block with Soul Bead Strike. I mean, he hasn't played any pummels, so this would be a very unfortunate hand if my opponent did have a pummel here. Let's hope my opponent doesn't have a pummel here. This is the third Bravo game, or not, the 2 games before this. The 2 games last night I played, where I played Warmonger's Diplomacy, my opponent had Rouse into Starstruck, and now tonight they have Chokeslam Pummel, which is like, I'm literally just dead. Like, it's how my Warmonger's Diplomacy, 3 times I played a Warmonger's Diplomacy against Bravo, and all 3 times they have done literally nothing. That is very unfortunate. Yeah, that's extremely unfortunate that like they're lining up that way, because like I have watched Warmonger's Diplomacies be so good against Bravo, where like they can't dominate, they can't like do anything, like I mean, they can still throw an attack, like don't get me wrong, but I'm saying that they can't dominate or activate that, and that is 3 out of my last 5 games when I've played a Warmonger's Diplomacy, it's lined up with my opponent having a pummel, which is like so bad for us. I mean, it's laughable at this point, like, because that's all you can do. It's laugh or cry when like you're getting hit with stuff that hard. Is this the 4th Bravo in a row tonight? All right. Oh, this is against Dagon White too. Dagon White's a very good player, so this should be a good game. Hopefully. I'm hopeful this will be a good game. I like his background. That's kind of neat. I always choose to go second in this matchup because it's my opinion that you want to be going second, because you want tempo in this matchup. Like, you want to be pushing the tempo and playing offense if you can. I'm just going to take 1 here. I want to keep the double strike because it's tougher to block. How about using Soaring Strike instead of Bittering Thorns? So I was on Soaring Strike for a while, Jason, and I don't think Soaring Strike's a bad card. I'm just a bigger fan of Bittering Thorns personally. I really like Bittering Thorns, like both in this matchup and into the aggro matchups. So, and I think that like Bittering Thorns always has an on-hit effect, and Soaring Strike sometimes has an on-hit effect. So that's kind of like how I view that card. But good question, Jason. I appreciate the question, man. So I guess let's go double strike. I mean, I guess I could play it just to like try and make this happen here. Just to draw an extra card, I guess, is fine. So let's come in for 4. Okay. This is for 2 because of Shuko. Okay, interesting. Our opponent's going to try and play the slower like game with Hammer and stuff, which I don't think is a bad plan. Our opponents have just been like drawing very well tonight, and so like they've not had to. They have a Command and Conquer in their arsenal. This has got to be a Command and Conquer. Like this screams Command and Conquer. And if it's Hammer for 4, then like I missed out on an extra card here. It could be Chokeslam, I guess. Yep, there's a Command and Conquer. We played around it very well in this spot. I don't think there's a reason to block 3 here. This hand is very good. So let's go. Kodachi. I could have blocked 3 just to save life there, but I don't think that's really where I want to be. I'm going to go Brand for 3 here. My opponent blocks Kodachi for 1. Activate Fai. And then let's come in for 7 on hit, draw a card off of Mask. Defense reaction. Okay. Yep. So our opponent blocks it out there, and we're going to pass. Yeah, we'll just take 4 here. Go to 29. I think that's fine. This hand is a hand that, like, gives us the opportunity to... This hand gives us an opportunity here to, like, present an on-hit effect. So let's go... I'm just going to go Kodachi here and see what they do. I'm going to throw the Ronin Renegade for 3. We'll use the Empowerment here to get us an extra card. It's like, hopefully they don't have anything that's like super punishing there. Let's go Brand for 3. Phoenix Flame for 1. And then Lava Burst for 6. I'm curious to know, it seems like Dagon is considering, like, he's just going to take 3 here and go to 26, which actually is very beneficial for us because now this makes my Salt the Wound for 7. So the Salt the Wound that we drew off of Mask was, like, insanely strong here. This hand is... We've seen 2 Command and Conquers, so I feel kind of comfortable arsenaling. I mean, I guess I could go Kodachi, Mounting Anger, or E-Strike for 7. I could also just go Kodachi, Yeah, I'll take the 4 and go to 25 here. Our opponent doesn't have an arsenal, so throwing the breaking point here isn't gonna like actually get us a ton of value or anything. Breaking point has always been in the Bravo matchup as a 1 for 5, so it's not like I'm looking to get like a crazy amount of value out of it. I'm gonna go for it all here. I'm gonna see if they give us equipment or not. It looks like this is like the first like actually like what I would say quote unquote good hand Dagon has had so far. So okay, I guess not. I guess he determined that taking a bunch of damage wasn't worth throwing something at me. I mean, it probably wasn't going to be considering I do reinforce the line. So Command and Conquer is fine here because I get to go Kodachi, Kodachi, double strike, snatch. So I mean, this hand is like fine. Like my hand is pretty good, and I'm still up 3 points before I actually start playing offense here. He's just gonna give me the tech plating here. I was like, there's absolutely zero reason for him to give me a card from hand on this, especially if he has anything he actually wants to do with his hand here. I was like, if his hand's like super terrible, I guess I could see it, but I mean, his hand would have to be like absolutely garbage for him to consider like giving up cards like that. And then I guess let's just throw Snatch here and see what he does. I mean, I have a card in hand, so I'm kind of surprised that he's like blocking the Snatch so aggressively here, but I'm not going to complain. I'm getting rid of equipment block here, and I was throwing a card that was just a 0 for 4 in my hand. Drawing a Snatch with the Quicken is like insanely strong for us. Okay. Activate Borvo. I don't like that they have the pummel. Let's block 4. Like, there's a pretty heavy chance that like Dagon just has the pummel here. And then we get to take 3. And we're going to discard the Warmonger's Diplomacy here. We get to start our turn with a Snatch for 4 with Go Again here because of the Quicken token. So getting a lot of value here off the Quicken token just to start out with. One pummel, 1 sink, 1 fade is all we've seen so far. I should have arsenaled this because I know there's 0 Command and Conquers left in the deck. Probably would have just been a better card to arsenal right there. I think I should have just arsenaled that. That was probably a mistake. Gives me a chance for a more explosive turn where I can try to put like, 6 chain links on the board or something like that, like something crazy. But this hand is just also like really good. I'm just taking 4, going to 12. Dagon and I are both at 12, so this feels like a game that favors us. So the breaking point here actually going to be really good because Dagon does not have Crown of Providence, so feeling pretty good about that one. Kodachi into Brand. And then since Dagon blocked, we're going to throw the Kodachi. Had Dagon not blocked, I was going to throw the Ravenous Rabble. Goes to 10. We throw the Ravenous Rabble for 4. There's a Bittering Thorns on top, which is good information to have. Defense reaction incoming. And then we're going to throw Breaking Point. So this is going to give me the last 2 cards out of Dagon's hand. giving us complete tempo going into the next turn, which means we just need to not have a brick hand here and we're good to go. Yeah, I mean, this hand's great. Kadachi. Bittering Thorns. Defense reaction. Okay, so that's what? 2 sinks and 2 fates. All right. We're now 3 for 5 on actually hitting reds with our Ravenous Rabbles here, so that one's starting to feel a little bit better. And then let's come in for 3. Again, this might have just should have been an Arsenal card, but I think that, I don't know, I always worry about getting stuck with cards when they want to like throw a Spinal or a Crippling or something at me, so... I mean... This hand's fine. Okay, so I'm going to take 8 and go to 4. And then let's go 3. I'm sure that they'll give us a card here. We'll throw Rabble. Let's hope we hit. Big Sag. Big Sag indeed. Yeah, if he's got a good hand, he's just going to go to 2 here, thinking that if he can just dominate something, he'll probably just end the game. Thankfully, Reinforced Alliance just going to bail us out here. I'm just going to take 1. Go to 3. Reinforce the line looking really solid there. We're going to Arsenal another Reinforce the line. I think this game is like, I think this game's over. Honestly, like we're just getting ready to like Kadachi lock them here. I mean, they could have like sigils and stuff in their deck. They could. I don't know why they would, but it is a possibility. You always hit the 2 when you need it the most. Yeah, I've hit 2s a lot. Like, and maybe that's just like one. Like, it's definitely one of the like downfalls of playing Ravenous Rabble in this deck for sure. I just like to look at that card as like an extra 0 for 2. So it's a really good or 0. It's a 0 for 4. Lol, I said that on accident. But I mean, the card is like really good, and I enjoy playing it. This being for 7 is actually really solid. I'm just going to Arsenal the Sink Below here. Because of the Command and Conquerors, I am no longer worried about actually, like... Because of the Command and Conquerors, I'm no longer worried about the Sink Below, like, having a drawback here. And then throw Mounting Anger, which gives me the last 2 cards out of my opponent's hand, or it gives me a defense reaction. And then I'm just going to Arsenal my Sink Below here and pass. This hand is not good in any way. But I think it ends the game unless they have a defense reaction. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it ends the game. We just get to go Kadachi into E-Strike for 7. So even though like my hand was actually really bad, like it still ends up being a pretty good hand. And then we just get the play buff here, and then we actually get our opponent. Close game. 13 turns, and we had 12.31. Choose if you want a quick rematch. So I'm going to change the record to 2-2. Beating Dagon White feels pretty good. Yeah, sure. I'll run a rematch against my opponent. That's fine. I don't know if like they feel like they were robbed or hosed, or like maybe they drew poorly or something like that. I'm not sure. But either way, I mean, Dagon's a very good player, and plus, like I'm getting really good testing into the Bravo matchup tonight. So all right, well, thankfully we have it. I was like, we actually just have it so we can keep our turn going here, which is kind of nice. I'm actually like very, very, very thankful for that. I like his sleeves. Yeah, so I think that's like, if it's like a team art they have or something like that, but I really like his sleeves too. Maybe it's a Patreon thing. I'm not sure. They are cool though. Somebody to have, somebody to hold. Let's throw Brand for 3. They give me a Crippling Crush, okay. We're going to go Kadachi. Ronin Renegade. Okay. Bittering Thorns for 4. Met with a defense reaction. We activate 5 for free and come in for 1, which our opponent goes to 37. So we push through 3 points of damage, and then our opponent is just going to swing hammer. Oh, they're going to Arsenal. They must have something they want to Arsenal here. Kadachi, Kadachi, Rising Resentment, Rising Resentment. Kadachi, Rising Resentment, Lava Burst, or Phoenix Flame, then Lava Burst, because we get to trigger Shuko, so we technically get another point out of our turn if we go that route, which is pretty cool. It's a good thing to note that like the Shuko trigger actually getting us an extra point here is very relevant. I mean, honestly, like most Flesh and Blood games can be decided by like 1 or 2 micro decisions throughout the course of the game. And like, this is a very easy turn to look at it. And like, you're just used to like playing the Kadachis and you go Kadachi, Kadachi, and then you miss out on a point there. And it's like, I would honestly like to be able to see a highlight reel of every time I've missed a decision point like that. Like, and I call them micro decisions because I feel like at the end of the day, like they're not something that like you would even notice at certain times, because like a lot of like I have no doubt in my mind that there are games that I've looked at turns like that and I'm like, oh, like I was just like, yep, I couldn't have done anything different. Like I played to the best of my ability, and it's like, oh, well, actually you made a micro decision on like turn 6 that actually cost you an extra point or something like that. So it's stuff like that. And we'll just pass to our opponent here. What on God's green earth is this hand? So I'm going to pitch Reinforce the Line to play. I have to take 6 here, I'm pretty sure. Like I could block if I wanted to and just come in for 7. I guess blocking 3 and going to 34 is actually better here. And then I can E-strike for 7. Yeah, that's fine. If my opponent is pummeling on a non-on-hit effect card, I'm like so okay with that. Now, I also understand it from my Bravo opponent side of the field, because they're like, oh, I just need to push damage. Like I need to cross the finish line here. So I completely understand their point of view as well. So this is really interesting. I feel like I might as well. I'm just going to play the Reinforce the Line here. So this is Reinforce the Line number 1, and I've played 1 Sink Below. So 2 Sinks and 1 Reinforce the Line left in our deck because we have 1 Reinforce the Line in our hand. And then I'm just going to go Kadachi, Kadachi, Snatch. See how our opponent plays it, actually. Couple of ways they could go about this. I don't think it's ever worth me using snaps here. I was like, because my opponent probably just has a defense reaction. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, it would be insane to, like, actually be able to get our opponent and draw 2 cards there. But, like, I think I'm being realistic when I say that, like, I don't think that's a thing that'll ever really come up. I mean, again, this is like a super awkward hand. I really don't want to give up my 4 points here, but I don't think I have another choice. I could take 6. Let's tell our opponent that we're thinking. I could take 6 and go Snatch, Snap, Kadachi, Kadachi, Blaze Headlong, Breaking Point, which is not a bad turn. I mean, that's a pretty solid turn, and like that's a pretty efficient use of my Snapdragon Scalers. Yeah, I want to lead on the Snatch because I want them to have to give up. I want them to have to give up their defense reaction here before we actually get to a Mask Chain Link. Now, the Breaking Point is looking a lot worse here, but, I mean, that's fine. Okay, so our opponent goes to 27. We throw 4 at them with potential Mask Effect here. Now, they know that, like, I can't actually, my opponent knows that I can't, like, get them with a, with, like, an Ancestral Empowerment right there. And they're just blocking 6 to throw the hammer for 4. Trying to keep their lead while they can, I suppose. This is about to be the second Ancestral Empowerment I'm about to block with, because it just does nothing in the hand that it pops up with. So I guess let's just take 1 and go to 23. Having to use my 2 of my Ancestral Empowerment so far as block 3s is really bad. Really bad for us here. All right. Kadachi Kadachi. Rabble Babble for 2. I swear, like, it honestly kind of feels like a Talishar thing. Like, at a certain point, it just kind of feels like a Talishar thing that I'm just going to run into that. Yeah, this hand's really good. For 2, baby. That's right, Drew. Yeah, I mean, it happens a lot. Like, I haven't got to play a ton of paper reps with my Fai deck, but it hasn't happened to me very often playing Fai, so let's go Brand here. See how they block. Dagon is playing this matchup from a very patient perspective. And I mean, honestly, I have a lot of respect for it. Like, I think it's a very solid way to play this matchup in general. Is like with a lot of patience and like to play it patient, like to block, and like I just like the way Dagon is playing this matchup is like says a lot to me about who he is as a player. I mean, yeah, like, and that's so like 2 turns in a row we've went to push mask and like I've just hit a two attack Ravenous Rabble 2 turns in a row, which is forcing like it's making it to where Dagon like those 2 points change the game a lot because Dagon might have to give us equipment. Dagon might have to like do other things, and like he's not being forced to do these things because of the way our hands are lining up, which is just so bad. So Lava Burst. Man, I hate to block with that. I mean, blocking Lava Burst and Furnace gives me like the best turn cycle here because I get to keep this here. Yeah, I mean, I need to hang on to the Reinforced line, I think, for like something that like actually really matters. Yeah, Drew, we keep hitting this for 2, man. Like, this is crazy. This is a lot of 2s. Dagon's playline so far has been to let Kodachi hit, block the Ronin, block the head jab, because I'm always throwing head jab at them on Chain Link 2, because I want my opponent to give me cards like that. Blaze for 4. My opponent has a defense reaction. He'll play it here. Yep. So that's all 3 sinks and 2 fates. And then activate this for 1. Like, I haven't really had a turn where I could like try to swing tempo in my favor this game. It's been a very interesting game. I mean, I think I'm just going to play my Reinforced line here because I want to. Like, I think I want to get rid of that Reinforced line, and like, I don't know. They've only seen 1 Command and Conquer. Maybe I'm just supposed to play the Sink Below here. I think I'm actually just going to play the Sink Below and just keep the Reinforced line. The Reinforced line has so much value for me when they have a Command and Conquer. Plus, at a certain point, the Kodachis are like very, very, very slowly wearing him down. And I do mean very slowly. Gives me the 6 steps, okay? So you're actually going to get punished for that here a little bit. Because you're going to give me the Snatch with Quicken here. With Go again, which is really cool. It's a sweet play for us. Ooh, my opponent's hand must be really good. If they're giving up all their equipment like this... Must be trying to set something up here. Not trying to set anything up. His hand's just really good. I mean, that's a really solid play from our opponent here. So give Stab Wound, Reinforce the Line, and Shuko. Kodachi, Kodachi, double strike, double strike. Arsenal the Sink Below and pray that their next hand is a Command and Conquer. I guess it's probably just always better to play the Sink Below there from hand. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, like, maybe I'm just supposed to always keep the Reinforce line because it is better. That was an interesting hand. Play Imposing Visage to go get Showtime into... Play Imposing Visage to go get Showtime into Crippling Crush is like a really good turn. Because they get to have a 5-card hand here. Which is just so strong. And then I'm just going to Arsenal here. So they have 4 cards. So I was like, so it's very possible they have Command and Conquer Pummel here. Okay. Can my hand do anything here? Block 3, take 5. Brand E-Strike for 7. Because without Furnace, we're not really playing Lava Burst here on an all-red hand. Furnace kind of like enabled those hands to like be able to make something happen. This is also an interesting game because like our opponent is like we're behind on cards a little bit. And like if my opponent tries to set it up in second cycle to where like they can... If my opponent like tries to set it up in second cycle where like they're trying to like they're achieving for a second cycle hand that is going to like let them take tempo and try to fatigue me, that's very interesting. Outmuscle is also just a really interesting card. Like I guess they're just playing a blue that like helps defend in the that like helps play defense in the or helps keep the board clear in the Dromai matchup, I guess. I think I'm going to need that Sink Below. I think that Sink Below is just too good. I'm going to keep the Mounting Anger in my deck. Because it plays to my Chain Links later in the game that I like. And we'll pass. This could also be a Command and Conquer is the problem. Thank God it wasn't. How many CNCs have we seen? 2? Yeah, that very well could have been a Command and Conquer. So this hand is just like really good. Like this hand just has all the value. So I think I'm just gonna go to 3 here. Like I think this is just go to 3 and like play our value hand here. Like take the good hand. Kadachi. Double strike. You can either block 1 with a card from your hand or take 1 and give me a mass trigger here, which I'm okay with either, I think. Double strike. Which my opponent again is going to take. Double strike. Having double strike, which is like feels very weird to say out loud, in one hand is very solid, I think. I'm also at a point where like I'm just okay blocking with Mask because I know that Mask is never really going to hit. That's the first Draconic Chain Link I've played. Like if they come in with... So... Alright, let's think about this. Let's do the math on this one, boys. So let's figure out our hand here. Is our hand block Brand Mounting Anger come in for 7? That's an 11-point hand. I can also... I could sink below this if I wanted to. And just like really try to rip all the cards out of my opponent's hand. If I sink below, I can put Mounting Anger on the bottom. Could also put E-Strike on the bottom. I could block with Mask, keep my entire hand go to 1, and then I have the Sink Below in the arsenal, and then I have Kadachi, Mounting Anger, 7. I mean, 1, 2, demand a card, because they're at 4. If they go to 3, I get to banish this and it comes in for 8. I demand 2 cards. If they give me 2 cards, they stay at 4 And then this still demands 2 cards. So this is actually a really good play. Going to 1 here is completely fine. There's not like a card that they're just gonna like spike us with randomly. And plus I'm like taking the value here out of, like, I'm using my life total as like my biggest resource this game. Mounting Anger. So if they give me a defense reaction here, okay, so they give me 2 cards, and now I'm going to come in with E-Strike for 7, which is also going to demand 2 cards, which is like so good here. Like there's so much value in this hand. And to think I almost considered sinking a card. This is, again, why I talk about all my plays. This is why I work it all out. This is why I keep everything above board so that I can talk about it and that we can figure out what the best, so that I can do my best to figure out what the best play is in my, like, with the hands that I draw. Now, sometimes the best plays aren't that good, but most of the time they're pretty serviceable most of the time. So, Kadachi? I mean, they could consider going to 1 here if their hand is, like, really good. Kadachi again. Okay, block the Kadachi on the pummel. Makes sense. Mounting Anger if they do not have a defense reaction. I mean, I guess they feel like they're at a point where they have to go for it. Rabble Babble for 4 because we hit a yellow, which means they give us their last 2 cards, and then my Soul Bead Strike ends the game right here. Okay, well, beat Dagon White 2 games in a row, which, I mean, feels pretty good. Easy peasy, yeah. That game felt a lot worse for me than the last game. The first game we played, I felt like I was like in a pretty good position most of the game. That one we really had to crawl for and like really fight through to win that game. Looking for Lexi Bravo Dromai. So, I mean, I don't know, like overall, like played 5 games against Bravo. And I mean, the 2 games we lost, like I'm not going to say we got high rolled, but like it definitely felt like they drew on the upper end of what they were looking for. Good luck, have fun. All right, well, I guess we're going to make it 6 games against Bravo. Bravo's in full force tonight. I guess people are just trying to play Dromai or playing Bravo to combat Dromai. So let's start with the Phoenix Flame. If you're this late into the game, couldn't you only swing 1 Kadachi, get your Flame, then play Blaze Headlong into E-Strike for 7 as well? Or you'd have to Blaze into Fai Trigger. So, well, I'm not lucky enough to have it this game, which is pretty unfortunate. So we'll block, I guess we'll block 2. I guess we'll just take 7 here. So let's see. That last hand was E-Strike, Blue, Blaze, and Rabble. Was Rabble the 4th card? What was the 4th card? So if I go... If you're this late into the game, hang on. Let's tell our opponent I'm thinking here while I'm trying to figure out what my last hand was. This late in the game, couldn't you only swing 1 Kadachi, get your Flame, then play Blaze Headlong into E-Strike for 7 as well? So swinging... I mean... Didn't the second Kadachi put him to 1, Justin? Rising, right? It might have been Rising, but didn't the second Kadachi put him to 1 there? Like, wasn't it like pretty relevant there? Like, wasn't that actually like a pretty relevant card, like playing the extra Kadachi? Didn't it end up being like kind of relevant there? I could be wrong, but I thought it did. E-Strike, Blue Soulbound Rising, and Headlong. It was mounting. You're right. It was mounting. It was mounting anger because I remember thinking that. So if I go Kodachi, mounting anger, Blaze Headlong. So Kodachi, mounting anger, Blaze Headlong into E-Strike for 7 is 7, 11, 15, 16. And my turn ended up being, I'm going to Arsenal the brand. And my turn ended up being Kodachi, mounting anger, which is 6 into 7. So 13. So yeah, Justin, your turn is actually 2 more points. So Justin, you're 100% correct. Justin has the better line here. His turn's for 15 points and mine was for 13. This is exactly what I was talking about just a couple minutes ago when I was saying that, like, sometimes we don't always make the best decisions because we don't see all the micro decisions that we're making. This hand is absolutely insane, by the way. I'm taking 6 here. That's exactly the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Had Justin not pointed that out to me, I would have spent the rest of my life thinking that I just played the best possible turn I had there. Now, my hand was good enough to get me tempo and win me the game there, but Justin's hand was for 2 more points and technically a more effective hand, which would have given us a better shot at actually, like, it just puts us in a... Had that been earlier in the game, that hand gives us a way better chance at taking tempo. The 2 extra points is super relevant there. So yes, good call, Justin. Thank you for pointing that out, man. I appreciate it. Iceman, hey, what's up, dude? Heard my name while I was playing League Law. I'm here for Flesh and Blood, loving the content in the live streams. Well, dude, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming by the channel, man, and hanging out. I was like, I do my best to entertain and play good content. Chat helps me out a lot with that because sometimes I don't always make the right decisions, as you've just heard us all debating here in this moment. So, but man, welcome to the channel, and I appreciate you being here, man. I would have YOLO'd the E-Strike because I'm a gambler. Drew gets it. I mean, sometimes you just gotta live on the edge of your seat, man. I get it. Speaking of gambling, I wonder how Thursday Night Football is going for me. I have 2 parlays tonight, so... So, is there actually any value to me to play the Lava Burst here? I don't think so. Fact, it's probably just always wrong to play the Lava Burst there because I want to save it for like a better chain link or something that could have happened. Activate this for free. Come in for 1. Our opponent's done a very good job of blocking. This is exactly how like a very strong Bravo player. Not to say that our last opponent wasn't like that. Like, I know Dagan, like, he's a very good player. But like this is exactly how Bravo gets ahead. They have a couple of turns where you don't want to block, and so you say no blocks on a lot of things, and then they throw the house and then they block efficiently and keep their life lead and then take their big turns when they come. It's situational too because the Phoenix Flame is better in discard in the mid game though. Yeah, so Justin, absolutely. I think that I and other people like who just heard us discussing this like all like understand that like your statement comes with the like, you know, asterisk of, yeah, like this only works because it's the end of the game and the Phoenix Flame probably isn't going to make that big of a difference. Now, the Phoenix Flame, I guess, technically could make the difference if my Bravo opponent gets to keep 1 card there and swing the hammer at me. But like, I completely, I hear what you're saying, man. Like, it's like, if that's like turn 3, that's never a play I'm going to make because I don't want to give up my Phoenix Flame. But at the end of the game, like your line is definitely better just because it gives me the extra Phoenix Flame. So Kodachi, Brand, Kodachi, Phoenix Flame, Rabble Snatch. Again, like this is a hand that like gets like we got 3 pieces of equipment last turn. We got 3 pieces of equipment last turn just so our opponent could swing a Titan's Fist at us. And I say Titan's Fist because like a Nothos with 1 blue is just a Titan's Fist. So Like, consider that an absolute win for us this turn cycle here. That, like, we got 3 pieces of equipment and our opponent swung an Anothos at us. Or a Titan's Fist for 4. Basically a Titan's Fist. Shoo, I gotta stretch my leg tonight. I can tell, like, when I so I work from home a lot. For anybody who, like, I don't really talk about work a lot when I'm streaming, but I work from home a lot. I work for like a medical, I don't know, like, group where I live. And I work from home a lot. And when I have to go to the office, I can always tell when I've been at the office for, like, long hours of the day, because my hips, like, get, like, super tight, and, like, I can tell that I need to stretch them at night when I get back home, and, like, I can 100% feel that I'm gonna have to, like, stretch my legs before I go to bed. I get, like, restless leg almost. See, this is really cool, because them blocking with the Civic Steps there actually gives us access to the Snatch, which is sweet, because now this is 4 go again that they want to block. We're not even threatening Mask, and the cool part is that we'll actually just get to threaten Mask here with a Ravenous Rabble. Hopefully not for 2. Hopefully not for 2. So, Kadachi for 1. Phoenix Flame for 2 because of Shuko. And then for 4, please. Hey, we did it. For 4 on hit Mask. So we actually put 2 chain links on the play there that would have threatened Mask. So this is, like, a really good turn cycle for us. And then our opponent, again, ends up with a hand where they're just going to throw the hammer. This hand, I'm actually going to block. Our opponent also only has 3 equipment block left, and we have all of ours left, which is very big for us. So I'm just going to go E-Strike for 7 here, and then Arsenal my Reinforce the line. My Stab Wound blocks for 3 or attacks for 2 with Kadachi, so I chose to block for 3 to gain that extra point there. Okay, our opponent goes to 27. Our opponent was up, like, 10. Our opponent is now only up 5, so, like, things are looking better for us. This is an interesting hand. I think we're just blocking with the breaking point, going to 19, and then we're just going to throw what's hopefully 11 here. Hopefully. I say hopefully because Rabble has been all over the place for us tonight. And I really don't know why that is. I could have also made the decision to go Ravenous Rabble into Rising Resentment into Blaze Headlong. Hope this hits so that our breaking point can come in for 0. But that's not. I think blocking is just consistently better in this spot. Like, we want to block when we can and, like, play as patiently as we can against our Bravo opponent here. Sag. I'm going to go back and look tonight after this game, and I'm going to see how many times I hit a blue and how many times I hit a red. 100% I'm going to be doing that this evening. 1, because I want to know. 2, because I actually think it's relevant to, like, what I'm doing with my game. Kadachi, Brand, Kadachi, breaking point. We're going to play our Reinforce Line, take 2, go to 17. So our opponent took, like, 6 damage right there. Our opponent took 6 damage to be able to attack me there, and I just had the Reinforce Line rolled up, so now I'm down 4 points. And my turn is Kadachi, Brand, Kadachi, breaking point, which is actually, like, kind of a cool play. Being able to throw the breaking point with a 0-cost card is so cool. Like, that's such a sweet line for me. All right, 4 and 2 on the night. So our opponent conceded what I would say, like, what I would say is pretty preemptively there. Like, that felt like a pretty early concession from our opponent there. Okay. Lexi, Bravo, Dromai. I'm going to play one more tonight. I was like, we played 6 games tonight in an hour 45. So, I mean, the games are going by pretty quickly tonight, considering we're playing against Bravo. Hopefully we can get a Dromai or Alexi here. Or I guess we can just play against Bravo for the 7th time tonight. I mean, gotta see how consistent the deck's gonna be, I guess. Seven games is like, don't get me wrong, what I would still call a small sample size, but at the same time, 7 games is like a good judge of how it can be. And it's also 2 games where it's 7 or 2 of our 6 games so far, like, we're against Dagan White, who's like a very well-known player and does very well at bigger events. So like, I beating him feels pretty good. God, you gonna heave or pulverize and make me cry? Interesting. Think I definitely would have went for the Surge there. So we're gonna go Kadachi, Brand, and then if they don't block either one, I'm gonna throw the Bittering Thorns here. Because the Bittering Thorns is a breakpoint card, also threatening mask. If they block my Brand, I'm just gonna throw Kadachi. Interesting. So they really like their Starstruck hand, huh? So they blocked, so let's go Kadachi. Ronin Renegade for 3. Bittering Thorns for 4. Wow. I'm just going to assume they have the pummel here. Am I going to trigger Shuko if I do this? I don't think I am. Is the Quicken token worth more than 1 point? I think let's just go ahead and play the Phoenix Flame here. I can Arsenal a card next turn. If I Arsenal the Phoenix Flame here, I'm more than likely stuck with whatever they're going to do. I mean, maybe this is like Dominate and Pummel here. I don't know. Maybe they're going to like come in with Rouse the Ancients. Yeah, buddy. So I like arsenaling the Double Strike here. Double Strike is a very solid card, so I mean, I guess let's just take 8 and go to 32. I mean, yeah. So the pummel was pretty like you could like really see the pummel coming there. Honestly, in my opinion, felt pretty telegraphed. But I'm gonna play the Warmonger's Diplomacy and hope that it actually does something for us for a change. I'm 0-3 on playing Warmonger's Diplomacy and needing it to stop like a Dominate or something. So we'll see if we can. We'll see if we can get a little lucky here. This hand is also like kind of awkward, but also like kind of awesome. Really need him to not have a Command and Conquer here. Like Rouse into Hammer would be a 13-point turn, but I would honestly be okay with going to 15 because my hand is just like gas. So can't play the Terra Sunder there. Okay, well, that is also just not good. I'm just gonna block 8 here. So if they had a blue, I dare say the Warmonger's Diplomacy there actually saved me from a from a dominated Starstruck there, which is kind of nice. I was like, I really want them to get greedy and go for like blocking my Ronin Renegade here. Okay, sure. Okay, so the Fate Scene is like pretty solid play from them. Now, I don't think they're playing around Ancestral Empowerment. I think it just works with their hand. But at the same time, like, it is very good for them that it lined up that way. Interesting. I think I'm... So, if I go to 20 here, I have an opportunity to Arsenal the Sink Below. But I also have an opportunity to put Salta Wound on the bottom and try to make something happen. I don't know. I think we might just be taking 6 here, honestly. Like, being able to set up the Sink Below in my Arsenal is really solid. Plus, even if they have a Sink Below here, if they take the Kodachis and then they decide that they want to like block the 3rd Chain Link again, the Ancestral Empowerments here will actually play around that, which is really nice. Giving a one, like, I was like, giving Tech Plating here would actually just be like so good for them. Let's play an Ancestral Empowerment here. I mean, I guess let's just go ahead and play the other one too. Like, I mean, I can't, like, making that cost 1 less is fine. I honestly think the breaking point is like a really solid draw here because it has its Rupture text, which is actually like pretty disruptive. Okay, so they're able to cover it up like that, and then I'm just going to Arsenal my Sink Below. We're trying to crawl back into this game. We gave our opponent a little bit of an early advantage, and so now I'm trying to crawl back into this game here. We've seen 0 copies of Command & Conquer, which is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Let's just play the Sink Below here. We'll put this on the bottom, see what we come up with. That's not great. I mean, this is tough because, like, if I go to 14 and throw 7, they're just going to block with the Crippling Crush. Or they're just going to play the Crippling Crush, which probably requires 3 cards from them. They don't have a Surge, so they have to keep 3 cards, which means they don't want to block with many things. But at the same time, I don't just want to give up 6 points. I don't really know what happened right there. If I'm being honest, that was a weird situation. I don't know if they got tired of me like thinking about my turns or like what happened there. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty inclined to go to 14 knowing that I can Arsenal my Reinforcement line. I don't know. That was weird. I'm not really going to count that as a win or a loss, honestly, just because, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really feel like that. Like, I don't know how that game was going to turn out. There was too much of that game left to be played. All right. Well, guys, I hate that I didn't get to, like, really play out that last game, but I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty tired. And I got to go into the office tomorrow. So I appreciate everybody hanging out. Guys, whether you're watching on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, wherever you're at, I appreciate y'all hanging out. If you're new to the channel and you haven't, like, followed or subscribed yet, it'd mean a lot if you hit that follow button. It really helps me out a bunch. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I hope everybody's had a great couple of weeks of ProQuest. I'm really excited about ProQuest. this weekend. I'm drafting on Saturday and then playing CC on Sunday. So this is only my second CC Pro Quest. So you guys have got to see all of my CC testing for the most part over the last few weeks and like what I've been looking into. So this list that I played tonight is definitely what I will be playing on Sunday. So thanks again for hanging out. I hope everybody crushes it this weekend at your Pro Quests, and I will be back next week with some more Flesh and Blood. Thanks for hanging out and have a good weekend. I'll see you guys next week.